Good afternoon to all. I would like to welcome all of you on behalf of Orissa Follow Up Organization. Today, really, we are grateful before our guest speaker because he has accepted our invitation to inspire and motivate to share his insights to our participants. As well as today, I can see number of new faces. And Dr. Job Lohara is with us, and Romana Jaffrey, Madam Video from Kalahandi, she is with us, and all other dignitaries, they have joined with us. So without wasting our time, this is an opportunity to introduce our today's guest speaker before you. Simultaneously, other participants will be joining with us. So we are going to start in a couple of minutes. So before that, let me introduce our today's guest speaker before you, so that it will be easier for you to know about him and his work and his experience and his insights. Mr. Shankar is a senior corporate trainer. He is a TTT certified trainer by International Trainers Assessors Course. He has 10 years of experience in handling international clients from USA, UK, and Canada. So moreover, he has an expertization to impart corporate behavioral training and skill development as well. We are really so glad to have you, Mr. Shankar, sir, with us today. And it's our privilege to have you because you have given your most valuable time to inspire and motivate our participants. And today I'm very happy because some of the dignitaries, they have joined with us, even though they are preoccupied. Still, I would like to welcome everyone. And right now, I hand over the session to Mr. Shankar Nayak.
Thank you very much, Amod sir, for inviting me in this forum to talk for some time. I really feel glad and privileged at the same time that I have been invited in this forum, and I really appreciate your efforts to make it easy for all of us to meet at the same time, though we are not near to each other. So this is really a very good forum that you have created, and thank you very much once again. And once again, I welcome all of you, those who have joined today. Pardon, I was getting a call. So thank you very much, Amod, again.
Hello, Mrs. Shankar, you are not audible.
Yes, I'm audible now?
Yeah, it's audible now.
Okay, great. Sounds good. All right. So before we start today's talk, I'd like to mention one thing: the relationship between us to the entire forum, to the entire participants, those who have joined here. So it's been more than 10 to 15 years now. We know each other. I know Amod, and I still remember those days, how we used to fear to talk to somebody whom we feel that they knew more than us. So it took longer time, more than 10 to 15 years, so that we are able to speak, even we are able to speak a word or a sentence today in front of you. Everything doesn't change overnight. It takes a lot of time. As I mentioned, 10 to 15 years is not a less time, it's more time. To gain certain knowledge, to gain certain skills, to perform somewhere, it takes more than 10 to 15 years and more than that as well, if we do not get a proper environment. I hope everyone agrees to that. But I realized one thing can change overnight in you, which is attitude.
Yes.
which is your thought process, which is the way you think, which is your approach to something. So that can change overnight, and which can help you learn something more and more and more, and which can skill you, which can make you knowledgeable as well. So that is nothing but attitude. Having said that, let's start with today's journey of learning. Sometimes I feel, if I do, I mean, sometimes I know and I can realize what I know. And it happens with everybody else as well. But sometimes it becomes very difficult to know what we don't know. So when Amod sir invited me for this session today, I thought of putting this across. I thought of discussing about this, how to analyze ourselves. Yes, I understand this is very important to know what we know, which makes us more confident, and we find an opportunity to use that knowledge wherever we get a chance. This is very important. But at the same time, don't you think this is also very important to know who we are, where we are? That is also very important. So that's what I feel. So I came up with this topic, self-analysis, which is nothing but which helps you to know what you know, of course, as I mentioned, and which also helps you learn to know what you don't know. Sounds good?
Yes.
Okay. And during the session, if anybody wants to ask any question, please stop me and ask. There is no problem. The intent is to learn. The intent is not that I deliver and you listen to it and you forget. The intent is to learn something and implement the same in our life, so that the time that we are investing, even for half an hour, even for 1 hour, right? So we can get a return of that. So what I believe, whatever we do, there should be return of investment. So the time that we are investing today, even if it is 1 hour, there has to be a return. That's what I believe in. Hence, anyone wants to add something, they can add as well. And if anyone wants to ask a question, they can stop me and ask a question. And number three, there shouldn't be any language barrier. There may be some people that, I shouldn't say this, but if we are not comfortable in English, we can talk in Hindi as well sometimes. That's not a problem. So language doesn't matter. Great deal.
Yes. Right.
That sounds fantastic. All right, then let's move on to the next slide. Let's talk about the objectives of self-analysis. What is it? What is in self-analysis that we can learn, and how it would benefit us? Okay. So the objective is to know the extent of self-abilities and to improve upon them. What are the abilities that we have and how we can improve on them? And through self-analysis, we can identify our own skill gaps where we lack in knowledge and develop realistic goals and focus in learning. So this is the objective of today's session. In this session, we'll get to know uh, what are our skills, how we can develop them, and what are the skills we require, which we even don't know. So we'll discuss about all these things today, which can help us learning more and more, and which can also help us to achieve our goals, whatever the goals that we have. All right.
Yes.
So let's move on. Now, before we move on to the next slide, let me ask this. When we talk about, when we say self-analysis, what comes to in our mind? Anybody can say that. What else we can think of when we talk about self-analysis?
Participants, you
Self,
can,
we all know.
yeah, you can reply to guest speaker. No problem.
Self we all know, and what do we mean by analysis? What is our understanding about it? Okay, no problem at all. So we'll learn about this and we'll discuss what exactly the self-analysis means. So to put some more light on it, let's move on to the next slide and we'll get to know what exactly the self-analysis means. Next slide, please.
Yes.
All right. So may I request anyone to read this?
Okay. Is any participant interested to read it out for us? Can anyone? Smriti? Okay, let me read it out for you, sir. Self-analysis is an assessment tool used by individuals to evaluate the quality of their work, measure their performance with the stated goals and learning objectives, identify the strengths and weaknesses in their work, and implement accordingly.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Amod, for reading this for me. So self-analysis is nothing. This is an assessment tool. When we talk about analysis, if I tell you the meaning of analysis, which is a detailed examination of something, right? So if there is a problem, you might have seen that if there is an accident happen somewhere, the cops go there, the police go there, and they analyze what happened, how it happened, right? So they do the detailed examination of that occurrence. So that is analysis. So here we are not talking about accident, of course. We are talking about analyzing ourselves. We are talking about analyzing our work. We are talking about to measure our performance with the stated goals. Okay. And we are trying to identify our strengths and weaknesses in our work and how we can implement it accordingly. So we are trying to analyze all these things. So to analyze, to do a self-analysis, don't you think there should be a technique?
Yes.
So there should be a technique, right? So if we do any work randomly without any technique, that may not be effective. I'm not saying that by doing randomly, we cannot do a work or we cannot accomplish a work. I'm not saying that. But if we use certain technique, it can be more effective and it can make our work a little easier. Having said that, let's check what is that technique that we can use for self-analysis. Let's move on to the next slide, please.
Yeah.
All right. So the assessment technique could be SWOT. This is an acronym, SWOT. So this assessment technique was introduced by Albert Humphrey. He was one of the educationist and psychologist who led a research project at Stanford University in the year 2000, in the year 1960s. So Stanford University is located in the United States. So in 1960s and 1970s, he used a data from a top company and he analyzed that data and he came up with this technique, which is called SWOT, SWOT. So can anyone guess what could be SWOT? Any guesses?
Yeah, F stand for SWOT, strength. W. Hi, my name is Deepak. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Hi Deepak, yes, you are audible. Please go ahead.
Yeah, actually, this is SWOT analysis. S stand for strength. W stand for weakness. O stand for opportunity, and T stand for threats.
Fantastic. Really appreciate that. Very good job. Very good job, Deepak. So SWOT is nothing but strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So it's very important for us to understand what are our strengths, what are our weaknesses, and what are our opportunities wherein we can learn. And if we do not learn, how our weaknesses may lead to threat. Okay, so let's move on and let's put some more light on SWOT to understand it better. Okay, so can anyone say what is his strength? Any strength of yours? Any participant can say, what is your strength? Deepak, can you tell us what is your strength that you think?
Sure, sure. Why not? Training skill is my one of my strength. I train to youth, so it is in this field I'm very expert. So I can say that training skill is one of my strength.
You think training skill is one of your strengths? Fantastic.
Yeah.
So that can be one of your strengths. Okay. Okay. Anyone else? Weakness? Okay. No problem. All right. Opportunities, we will not talk about it now. Threats, what could be the threat? All right, no problem. Let's move on and we will learn about this.
Okay.
All right. Here it says strength could be what do you do well? What unique resources can you depict on? And what do others see as your strength? And what values do you believe in that others may fail to exhibit? Okay. So has Deepak said something, right?
Yeah.
Okay. As Deepak said, his strength is training. Okay. So he believes that, he can train well, and he believes that he has some good resources so that he can gain knowledge from. So that is his strength. Similarly, weakness. We'll talk about weakness now. So weakness means what takes, I'm sorry, I cannot see this. Let's see here. Yeah. What tasks do you usually avoid because you don't feel confident doing them? So if something is my weakness, of course, I would not want others to know about it, right? If I'm not good at something. So I would rather choose to keep quiet. So that could be my weakness. And where you have fewer resources than others. And what are others likely to see as a weakness in me, right? So if I'm working in an organization, if other people are performing well and I'm not performing well, so what is that skill I don't have that I do not perform well? I may not know, but rest other people may get to know about it. That's the reason why I'm not performing well. So that could be my weakness. Okay. And what are your negative work habits? So that could be my weakness. And what do you have any personality traits that hold you back in your field? So personality trait can also be my weakness. There are some people, they are very shy in nature. They do not come forward. Okay. They are very shy in nature. So that could be their weakness. There are some people, they boast whatever they know. And some people might not like it, though they do not realize it, but that could be their weakness. If you boast most, you cannot be a good leader. If I talk about a trainer, if you boast most in your classroom, then you are training adults. So if you're training adults, they would recognize it. And whatever you say, they will not accept it. So that could be a weakness as well. Okay. So we knew little about strength and weakness. Now, what could be the opportunity then? Opportunity could be what good opportunities are open to you. Means whatever strengths that I have, what are the opportunities for me to exhibit those strengths in that environment? It could be an opportunity for weakness as well. If I have a weakness, what opportunity is for me to improve what I don't know? What are my weaknesses? So that could be an opportunity. And what trends you take advantage of, as I mentioned. So if I have a weakness, let's say I have a weakness of speaking, I cannot communicate well. So what could be the trend that I can take advantage of, or what kind of platform that I can take advantage of, or what kind of people that I can meet and improve my communication skills? That could be an opportunity for me. So how can you make your opportunities to become your strength? So opportunity is nothing but how you use your, how you bring your weaknesses into that opportunity, and how you can convert your weaknesses into the strengths. Means, what I'm trying to say is, if I don't know something, I cannot convert my ignorance to my strengths. What I'm trying to say is how I can find an opportunity so that I can learn something which I'm not aware of. So I need to create an environment, or I need to search for an environment wherein I can get that opportunity to learn something more. So that is opportunity.
Okay.
When we talk about threats, so threats means what obstacles do you currently face at work, and what is your competitor doing, and could any of your weaknesses lead to threats? So threat means in customer service industry, as I just mentioned, the communication skills are vital. They play a vital role.
Right.
So if I'm not good at communication, that could be a threat for me. That creates an obstacle to talk to a customer, right? So if I'm a driver, right? If I do not drive well, if I'm not skilled enough, right? Then an accident may occur as well. So that could be a threat that leads to threat. So threat is nothing but if you do not have any required skill to perform a task, okay, and if there are any obstacles because of that, is called threat.
Right.
Okay? So to reiterate again, strengths is something that we are good at, right? For which we feel confident to perform that task. That is a strength. And weakness is something to perform a task. If I do not have a required skill, that could be my weakness. And opportunities, an environment, a chance, how I can improve on my weaknesses, how I can work on my weaknesses to make it my strength. That's an opportunity. Right. If I talk about threats again, threat is something, your weakness may, your weakness may result the threat. It can make some obstacles, it can create some obstacles to perform certain tasks. And if you're not able to perform that task, if you're not able to accomplish that task in a right way, so that is a threat.
Yes.
Okay. Anyone has any question on this? Understanding about strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats?
Yes, sir. I have a question.
Please go ahead.
Sir, how can we relate strength with the opportunity? Means, how I understood the weakness point, like a weakness, how because of weaknesses, how threats can come. Okay, but how can we relate strength with the opportunity, sir? That I didn't understand. Can you please explain it in better way?
Okay. So what you're trying to say is weaknesses you understood, and how through opportunities we can make our weaknesses to strength. But if I have a certain strength, how I can relate it to opportunities? Is that Is that the question you have?
Yes. Now my question is that strength. How can we relate strength with the opportunity? Means, is there any that relations between strength and opportunity?
When I talk about strength, you are the one who said your training is your strength, right?
Yes, Deepak.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Deepak, thank you very much. Yes. So opportunity is not only that I have area of opportunity. Opportunity, it doesn't mean that we can also say that, see, for me, the area of opportunity is my confidence. I can say that, because if I'm not confident, then that is area of my opportunity. I can say that. But if you have a strength also, let's say someone has certain strength, someone has certain skills, right? It doesn't mean they are perfect. It doesn't mean they are perfect in everything. For example, if I'm a singer, I'm singing well, right? But it doesn't mean that I'm perfect in singing. If I believe my strength is my communication skills, it doesn't mean that I'm perfect, right? So I will have to have those kind of opportunities wherein I can enhance my skills, whatever I have. Now, as you believe that training is your strength, I mean, training youth is your strength. So maybe in that environment, you feel that, you're perfect in training. To improve more on training, you need to have those kind of opportunities so that you can enhance more your training skills. So it's always good to find those opportunities so that you can enhance your skills, whatever the skills that you have.
Okay, sir, I got it. Actually, I'm just trying to understand. Sir, can we that create so many opportunity with the help of a strength?
You can, how you can create some opportunities is, yes, we can. The answer to your question is yes, we can. Whatever the strengths that you have, you can create some opportunities as well. How you can create some opportunities for you, whom you think know better than you. They may be your friends, they may be your teachers, they may be your senior trainers, they may be your managers. Okay, so you can have a small meeting, and if you have any idea or if you have any small presentation, right, if you can present in front of them, right, and if you can ask, if you can take a feedback from them, they'll give you some tips. What went well, what did not go well, what are your areas of opportunities, what you can learn. So that's how you can create opportunities for yourself to strengthen your strengths. Getting my point?
Yeah, okay, sir. Actually, I'm just trying to understand. Okay, but I understood what is SWOT. Okay, SWOT I understood. Okay, and that one I'm just trying to understand. Okay, no problem. I will connect you personally. Okay, if required.
I mean, if you have confused, we can discuss. That's the reason why we have connected. No problem. If you still are confused, we can discuss on this.
Sure, sir. Sure.
So you're trying to say is, you're trying to ask how the strengths can be connected to opportunities, right?
Yes, sir. That was my question.
Okay. Opportunity, as I mentioned, that some environment wherein you can get a chance to perform. Okay, wherein you can get a chance to perform. That could be an opportunity for you, right? So strength, it doesn't mean that we are perfect in that, right? So how you can create some opportunities for yourself so that you can get a chance to perform whatever you know, whatever you think is your strength, so that you can enhance more on it. Is opportunity. So it could be for strengths, it could be for weakness as well. If you have, if you are weak in something, again, you need to create an opportunity. You need to find an opportunity for yourself so that you can improve on your weaknesses, whatever your weak are.
Right.
And if you have some strengths, similarly, you can find an environment for yourself, or you can create certain environment wherein you can show your strengths and you can enhance your strengths. It's very simple.
Yeah, okay, sir.
Okay. Still, if you have any confusion, you can connect with me personally so that we can discuss on this. There is no problem at all.
Sure, sir.
Okay. All right. So when we knew about SWOT a little bit, there are certain competency levels, how a human brain learns, how do competency is nothing but, yes, somebody is saying something.
No, you got disconnected for a while.
Okay,
Yeah, no issue.
no problem. Competence is nothing. When we are, performing a task, we require certain level of skill, certain level of proficiency, right? So that is competency. Yeah. And there are certain competency levels that we have. So we'll discuss on that. And how we relate it to SWOT, we'll discuss that as well. So let's move on to the next slide to discuss about it.
Yes.
Okay. So according to Abraham Maslow, he was a psychologist again in the University of Wisconsin, United States. In psychology, stages of competence or conscious competence learning model relates to the psychological states involved in the process of progressing from incompetence to competence. So there are 4 stages of competence model, which talks about how someone goes to competence level from incompetence. So there are 4 stages in according to the psychology, 4 stages of learning, if I make it simple. Okay. Are we good so far? All right. So let's understand what are those 4 stages of competence model, how someone can go to competence level if he was incompetent. So let's talk about it. So we'll talk about that in the next slide. Let's move on to the next slide, please.
Yeah, this one.
Yes. 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 Okay.
Yeah.
Now there is something called unconscious incompetence and conscious incompetence. Third, conscious competence. Fourth, unconscious competence. Have we heard about it anywhere?
No, not yet.
Okay, which is very interesting.
Mhm.
Unconscious incompetence means I don't know what I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not even aware what I'm not aware.
Mhm.
Okay. And conscious incompetence means now I'm aware what I'm not aware. I'll give you example as well. And conscious competence means now I can perform a particular task. Okay. I can perform a particular task with an effort. Unconscious competence means I do not have to put an effort to perform that task.
Mhm.
I'll give you a small example on this.
Mhm.
When we were kids, right, if our father or somebody else drives the car, we sit at the back of the car with our mom. At that time, we just go from one place to another place by car, but we know that car is moving, but we really don't know how the car is moving. We are not aware that somebody has to drive the car to move from one place to another place. Okay, so we are not even aware about it. Right now, when we grow, when we become like 7, 8 years old, then we travel by the same car. Now we can notice that somebody is driving the car. He has to move the steering, he has to switch the gears, and to stop the car, we have to press the brake and all that. Now we are aware that somebody has to drive the car to move on, but we don't know how to drive. Right? So that is conscious incompetence. The first thing is you are not even sure that what you don't know. You are not conscious about your ignorance. That is unconscious incompetence.
Okay.
Now, by the time you would realize and you become conscious about your incompetence, by the time, by experience, okay, now you get to realize that you don't know something. That's where your knowledge starts.
Okay.
That is very important to know what you don't know. When we talk about self-analysis, if you're unconscious incompetence, this is very, very dangerous. So how you go from unconscious incompetence to conscious incompetence is you need to think. You need to read books. You need to meet different people.
Yes.
Who do you think that who do you think that those people know more than you? Okay, you need to try to gather some knowledge from different sources so that you will become conscious incompetence. You'll become conscious about your incompetence. Okay, now when you're conscious that you don't know something, then of course you have to start learning all the skills that you require. Okay, and at certain point in time you gather some knowledge and you will be skilled. If I was I was giving an example of driving, so you are sitting beside your father or maybe your friend who is driving, but you don't know how to drive, but you know that I have to drive the car so that car will move. You know that. Now you're not competent on that. You're not competent in driving, but you're conscious about it. You're conscious about your ignorance. Now you will have to learn how to drive. You will have to learn the ways how to drive the car. That is very, very important. If you keep quiet, you just know that I have to drive. Somebody has to drive the car to move the car. If you just know and keep quiet, then you will not learn. Okay. Now you need to find out the ways, right? So maybe you need to approach your friend to make you learn how to drive. Maybe you need to join a driving school to have that knowledge and have that skill how to drive the car. Then what happens if you have a little knowledge, then you become conscious competence. Now you are conscious and you know how to drive the car as well. But is it enough? Now I joined a school, driving school, and after 10 days, I know how to drive. Okay. What happens in this stage is, if I'm driving from maybe Bhubaneswar to Cuttack, and I don't know the roads, and I'm driving for the first time, now I know how to drive. Now, before I see something, in front of me, I have to think twice, and I have to put my leg on brake so that car will stop. Okay. I have to think consciously. If there is a breaker, then I have to put some efforts that yes, there is a breaker and I have to switch the gear, and I have to press my leg on the clutch, and I have to press my leg on the brake so that car will stop. I have to think about it. Okay, so conscious competence is nothing. You have those skills, but you're not perfect. You have those skills, you perform somewhere, but you have to put some efforts to perform that task. That is conscious competence.
Okay.
And you might have noticed, coming to unconscious competence, you might have noticed when you are going to your new office for the first time, you don't know the roads. Okay, you ask somebody else, and you knew the road, you knew the way how to reach to your office. Very next day, you knew the road. Now, when you are driving, then you have to think, yes, there is a turn. I have to turn from the left, and I have to turn right from there, and then I will reach. That's how you reach. But after maybe 10 days or 1 month or 2 months or 3 months, if you go on the same road, same way, and even if you're, if somebody is sitting beside you or, in your back seat, while talking to him as well, right, you will straight away go to your, you'll straight away reach to your organization or to your office, and you don't even realize where did you turn left, where did you turn right. Has it happened with you ever? You do not have to put any effort.
Right.
That means you are at the level of unconscious competence. Now, you do not have to put conscious efforts to perform that task.
Okay.
That is unconscious competence. So this is how the learning happens.
Okay.
Right. So now, did we understand about unconscious incompetence? What is conscious incompetence? And conscious competence and unconscious competence? Did we have a clear picture on this now?
Okay, Mr. Shankar, I would like to know which category we should be out of these 4 stages. Which category a person should means out of these 4?
Out of these 4, obviously the person should be at unconscious competence.
Okay, number 4.
Whatever we are doing, number 4, yes.
Yeah, right.
So we should reach to unconscious competence always.
Yes.
If I'm not good at running, then
Right.
first of all, I need to know that I'm not good at.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have to have a goal. First of all, what I want to do in my life, right? And to now, first I will think about a goal. For example, I want to be a doctor in future, or I want to be a manager in future. Now, I don't know what kind of skills I require to be a doctor, what kind of skills I require to be a manager.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Now I need, that is unconscious incompetence. I'm not conscious about those competencies which are required to be a doctor.
Okay.
Now I need to find out what skills are required.
Okay.
Okay. What skills are required.
That means I must have.
Then
Yeah, that means I must have curiosity to learn from a mentor or from a coach. If I am not aware about, if I am not conscious about my competence.
absolutely.
Yeah, right.
Now, if you get to know about those incompetencies that you have, then you need to learn those competencies. You need to learn to have those skills with you. Then, by the time you learn, of course, you'll be skilled and you'll be able to perform.
Okay.
Now, that's your conscious competence.
Okay.
But if you leave to learn more, if you leave to practice more, then you cannot become unconscious competent. So you need to practice more and more on those skills that you have, then you become unconscious competent.
Unconscious competence, right, right. Thank you. Yeah. So shall I go to next slide?
So before we move on to the next slide, yes, please.
Yeah.
Okay. Here, when we discuss about SWOT and the conscious competencies that we have, if you're unconscious about your incompetence, that is your weakness. And your weakness can lead to threat. Right? So you need to be conscious. Now, even if you're conscious about your incompetence, that is still your weakness, right?
Mhm.
Even if you know that you don't know something, that is still your weakness.
Yes, right.
So how you can move on to the opportunities, or how you can move on to the conscious incompetence to conscious competence, to learn those skills, those required skills, so that you can become conscious competence. Now, when you are consciously competent, now you are able to use the skill, but only with effort, as I mentioned before. Now, that can be an opportunity for you to learn more and to make it a strength for yourself.
Okay.
So your conscious competence can be an opportunity for you to practice more, so that it can become your strength one day. So you need to be unconsciously competent in that skill, so that will be your strength.
Okay.
Getting my point, everyone?
Yeah.
So how we can relate SWOT to competency levels?
Right.
Okay. So this is this what we discussed about, and the different competency levels that we have, how we learn. Okay. So quickly we will summarize whatever we learned today. We'll move on to the next slide.
Yeah.
Okay, before we move on to the next slide and summarize all these things, to understand it better, I'll have a question. Now, I request everybody to participate. I have a question. Now, question number one, I'll give you an example. Those who are trainers, for example, I handled a batch, but most trainees failed in certification.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened. Where did I lack? I don't know. What do I do? So which competence level that we fall in?
Mm.
Is it unconscious incompetent, or conscious incompetent, or conscious competent, or unconscious competent? Which category is this?
Mm.
Here I don't know what exactly happened.
Uh, conscious competence, is it?
Conscious incompetent. I don't even know what exactly happened.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not aware
Okay.
what was my weakness.
Right, right, right.
I'm not even aware why did I fail,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
right?
Right, right.
So I'm not conscious about my incompetent.
Okay, right, right.
Now, second question, I spoke to trainees to know the root cause. It seems they did not understand anything during training. I understand now. I lack in facilitation skills and I have a knowledge gap. I really need to learn some models, techniques to improve my facilitation skills. I need to attend some sessions and practice so that I can improve.
Mm.
So which competence level is this?
I encourage other participant to answer.
Can anyone answer?
Yeah, for me, it is conscious competence.
Okay. Second one is unconscious competence. Sorry, unconscious competence. I
Okay.
am not, sorry, conscious incompetence. First one is unconscious incompetence.
Okay.
Second one is conscious incompetence.
Oh, conscious incompetence.
Second one, now I knew what exactly, yes,
Mm-hmm.
conscious incompetence.
Right.
I'm conscious about my incompetence.
Good.
And now I knew what exactly happened, where I lacked,
Mm-hmm.
what I need to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm conscious about my incompetency.
Good.
So this is the second level.
Okay.
All right, so let's move on. Now, after I attended some sessions, I know some techniques. I attended some sessions and now I know some techniques. I put my efforts to follow them during my training and I train better than before. Now I know some skills and I put some efforts and I train better than before. So this is definitely conscious competence. Now I'm conscious that I'm competent, I can do better than before. The third level of competency level,
Okay.
right? Now the fourth one, I practiced a lot what I learned about training, methodologies, and facilitation skills, adult learning principles. Now I can confidently capitalize my knowledge and skills effortlessly during my training and I get results accordingly. Which means I am unconscious competent.
Right. So this one is fourth one. Fourth
This
category.
one is the fourth.
Fourth category. Right. Fourth.
This one is the fourth category. Now I can perform all the tasks effortlessly.
Effortlessly. Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So these are the four categories that we discussed.
Yeah.
So we'll summarize. I guess we're running out of time. So we'll summarize on the next slide.
Yeah.
Okay. So we spoke about what exactly the self-analysis is. Self-analysis is nothing to analyze yourself, to analyze your capabilities or incapabilities, okay, or to examine yourself. A detailed examination of self is self-analysis. And we discussed about the technique to analyze self, which is SWOT, which is nothing but strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And we also discussed about 4 levels of competencies,
Yes.
which is unconscious incompetence, conscious incompetence, conscious competence, and unconscious competence. So I'll give you some tips.
Yeah.
On the next slide, we have some tips. So that is the summary of today's discussion. Okay. So first of all, we need to identify our weaknesses, knowledge gaps, jot them down, what you need to learn. Before you'd like to learn something, jot them down, your knowledge gaps and whatever weaknesses that you have.
Right.
And the second thing you can do to go to the next level, to the second level, is to research. You jot it down, you need to research on those to know more about it. And use your resources and learn. So once you learn, then you may become consciously competent. And to go to the fourth level, you need to find the opportunities to capitalize your knowledge and skills to become unconscious competent. So our goal should be to become unconscious competent at the end of the day. I'm not saying that perfect, so nobody is perfect in this world, but to a certain extent, we feel more confident about the skills that we learn. And I'm sure if you really analyze yourself, jot down your weaknesses and work on all those weaknesses that you have and research and learn more about it and practice more and more and capitalize your knowledge, at the end of the day, you'll definitely become unconscious competent.
Right.
So that is the only message to you all today. And if you have any other questions or anything, you may ask me so that we can discuss more.
Okay. Okay, now this is the time for our participants. If you have any queries, related to today's session. So you can ask to our guest speaker. He's there to help you out and from his experience and insights. So you can speak to him in Hindi as well. No problem.
आप लोग हिंदी में भी पूछ सकते हैं, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है।
आप
थोड़ा बहुत हिंदी भी
यस, आप हिंदी में भी पूछ सकते हैं।
क्वेश्चन।
और आप चैट बॉक्स भी यूज कर सकते हैं, चैट बॉक्स पे भी लिख सकते हैं, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। हेलो, यस, you can use chat box as well. You can put your questions in chat box.
I don't think anybody has any question.
Yeah.
But there is a question. Why there is no question?
Okay, participants, if you have any questions, you can ask.
I don't think anybody has any question.
Yeah, no problem.
In that case, we can wrap up the session.
Yeah, okay.
If you want to add on something, you can add on as well.
Yeah, for me, really, today's session was really helpful for me because I learned this 4 level of competencies from your session. It is really helpful for me because for my profession and for my career. That's why I would like to thank you. And also, I came to know my weaknesses as well from this session when I put myself in 4 levels of competencies. So it is really helpful for me to assess and analyze my strengths and weaknesses, opportunity and threats. Thanks a lot, Mr. Shankar, for your valuable time you have spent with us. And I don't think other participants have any questions out.
Okay, no problem. And again, thank you very much, Amod, for inviting me in this session to talk for some time. And I hope I was able to transfer some knowledge to our participants. And I hope that can help even 5% or 10% if they can utilize it and they can improve even that percentage also. I'll be glad.
Okay.
So thank you very much again for your valuable time. And I hope you have a wonderful evening yourself.
Okay, we have almost finished our session. So on behalf of Orissa Follow Up, again, I would like to thank Mr. Shankar for spending his most valuable time to share his insights with all of us. And also I would like to Thank you, rest of the participants, those who have joined newly with us. I would like to thank you, and I would like to encourage everyone to join in our forthcoming webinar so that we all can learn and we can grow together. Thanks a lot, all of you. Have a good day.
Thank you very much, Amod, and all of you have a great evening.